Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Proceed with Passion Q&A sessions. I have here with me Kiana Lewis, a fellow copywriter, direct response copywriter, copy editor, entrepreneur. What am I missing here, Kiana? Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I've been following you, or we've been connected for quite a while,
Yeah.
so I definitely appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's definitely been, we've talked about it for a few weeks of getting you on and talking a little bit more. Like you said, we have been
Yeah,
connecting online through LinkedIn. That's how we met. And, it's just easy,
yeah,
if, we're both really active on there, delivering a lot of
yeah,
content. So it just comes easier the more you do it to meet fellow copywriters. I feel like our energy and our content just gravitated towards each other. So happy we get to actually sit down and chat a little more.
yeah. Totally agree. Totally agree. I'm not up to your standard of putting out content, but I'm trying to get there.
Oh man, yeah, I try. What's nice is these interviews now help, and I can repurpose them a little bit and take clips and some of this stuff like that. So, Kenna, what I like to do with these Proceed with Passion sessions is really talk a little bit about your journey and then some of more of the specifics of what you do and how you can help other people with some copywriting tips and to just try to motivate people to continue chasing their dream and going after creating a business and life that they get excited to wake up to every day.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to try something new here, and I talked a little bit about before, is just do a thing where we go through your LinkedIn, really your database, kind of like if we're going through your IMDb if you were an actor, just because you
Right.
have a wealth of experience here, going back
Yeah.
to, I don't know if we want to go back to your school days of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, but then you really got started in social media marketing is one of the first experiences I see from Point About. And then you
Yes.
have degree prospects as a content specialist. What was life after graduation for you?
Wow, life after graduation. So I actually went to school for nutrition.
Okay.
And yeah, so like growing up, I just knew I was going to do something in the health field. Went to school for nutrition. And I was always an athlete. So from elementary through college, I played sports.
Hmm.
Um, and one of the things for me was like I couldn't be behind a desk, like sitting at that time. Like I'm young,
Yeah.
an athlete. So I went into personal fitness training initially and did that for, I mean, years. Like I
Okay.
basically just stopped doing that for a while, even though I'm still certified. I stopped doing that when I moved from Maryland to Texas.
Okay.
So, but within personal training, I got burned out, and that's when I kind of made a segue to social media and just trying to get
Okay.
my foot in the web world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went back to school, got a degree in web design, and then that was my way of trying to get
Yeah.
my foot in that world.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
so yeah,
graduating or
oppor-
starting it in 2010, I mean, that was really when all the apps and things that we use today were really coming up. I mean, Instagram
yeah,
started in 2010. Facebook was just, really finding its groove, and Twitter as well. So it's pretty
yeah,
interesting jumping in at that early of a stage.
yeah. It was like, you know, I was a adopter of these platforms, and
Yeah.
social media wasn't what it was at that point.
Right.
People really didn't know how to use it. So it's like, oh, you're watching the Grammys or the Oscars, and that's how you would use Twitter. You would talk
Yeah.
about who was on like the red carpet, or like,
Yeah.
who just performed.
Yeah.
So it wasn't
Exactly.
people on there trying to network or find business or anything at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then, you continued, like you said, down the social media path. We have
Yeah.
foodum.com for a couple years until 2015.
Yeah.
What was some of the big takeaways from that experience?
That was a startup, and it
Okay.
was in a completely different vertical. It was in food tech. So food tech
Hmm.
was becoming big at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of takeaways because it was kind of like just me and the CEO. So I'm working shoulder to shoulder with the CEO. So,
Okay.
I got exposed to a number of different things, which was really cool.
Yeah.
From calling people on the phone, watching him conduct business. We would go set up at local colleges to recruit interns.
Hmm.
Um, I wore a marketing hat, and some of the stuff I had no idea how to do. So it was like
Yeah.
learning on the fly, quick. So I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed my experience with Foodle.
Yeah, getting to wear all those marketing hats, I imagine has set you up, really to succeed and, be more well equipped for what you're doing now, which, we'll get into
Yeah.
here, because you kind of jump from there. You're a manufacturer brand marketer for food service promos, a
Yeah.
copy creator, and then you really started, really your business now is the KL Fit to Web. I know that's your website.
Yeah.
And so I guess just talk about that. We'll kind of combine all these experiences into one, of starting your own business. You're the CEO of your own company and working with several different business owners with marketing strategies. But then you also have put this focus on copywriting. So tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about kind of the shift going into, the world of words, if you will.
Yeah, so within social media, again, I got burned out. It was like, okay, if
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
managing these profiles, right, you have to
Hmm.
curate content. You have to chase down the client for them to give you images and content and what's going on in their business. Are they having events and,
Yeah.
creating memes and all this stuff. So I'm like, you know what? This is not fun. This is not fun to me. But I did enjoy the copy part of it.
Yeah.
Actually, creating the copy for the profiles. So I made a decision. This was maybe 8 or 9 years ago, where I'm
Okay.
like, okay, what? I'm going to just focus on copywriting, content writing, and copywriting.
Yeah.
And that's primarily why I made the shift. Just managing profiles, I just got tired of it. I stopped
Hmm.
disliking what I was doing.
Got it. Yeah, it happens to a lot of us, but it's good that
Yeah.
you're able to pivot into that. And then tell us a little bit more about
Yeah.
what you do with the K Fit to Web.
Yeah. So really that's helping entrepreneurs, small businesses to basically get their voice out there.
Okay.
That may be through content writing, such as blog posts, or a lot of them come to me for direct response messaging, whether that's for LinkedIn or email.
Okay.
So that's primarily what I do. I do consult a little bit on marketing content strategies, but
Yeah.
I'm the words person.
The words
And I
person. Got it.
also, partner with other companies who want to outsource
Yeah.
that type of task as
Awesome.
well. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's my focus.
Very cool. And I know one thing I want to talk about was the direct response copy aspect of it all. And
Sure.
what's really interesting is that, I just want to dive into more about what that really entails for you when you talk about LinkedIn messaging or if you do things
Hmm.
with sales pages or emails, right?
Hmm.
What are some of the projects that you work on, and then kind of using that skill set of direct response copy.
Yeah. So, you know, the majority, I would say, of my work deals with LinkedIn messaging and emails. Not so
Okay.
much sales pages, but
Okay.
yeah, not to throw out names or anything like that, but yeah, direct messaging for LinkedIn and email. It's kind of similar into where
Yeah.
like you need to know your audience, um, you know, your customers. You got to put your feet. You got to walk in their shoes,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and other than that, it's being really I guess, concise with the writing itself, the copy itself. Our attention spans are so short that, you have to reach them within the first few words, or it's over with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'd love to dive into that more if you have any proven formulas that you like to use that you would recommend. And then, one or two tips really to, help others improve their direct response copy, whether that's how to get, into the customer's shoes, to put yourself there, any type of exercises that you may have.
Yeah. So I don't have like a favorite formula, but, I kind of lean towards the clear, concise, compelling, and credible formula. For me, that's clear cut. It's no gray area within that.
Okay.
So, and then you asked about different exercises. So basically, what I do to kind of research the target audience is I jump on to Quora for the most part. Different other forums as well. But Quora, I search the actual vertical or the, similar services, and just go through the thread. What types of questions are being asked, and, what type of answers are out there. And, for me, like, I would say, I've been doing this for quite a while. So I feel like I'm pretty good with just placing myself in the customer's shoes.
Yeah.
I that's the best way that I can explain this. Like, I've been doing this for a while, and, and then it comes down to having, kind of similar projects, so, like, for instance, I worked in food tech. So, 2 or 3 of those different projects, you kind of can put your self in those customer shoes because you're kind of familiar with that industry or that vertical. So that always helps as well.
Yeah, you kind of focus on that niche. So it's like you kind of have a good idea of who the audience is for the most part, some of their pain points. But I'm sure with each project you can get a little bit more specific, within that niche. But I guess that's a good question too to ask is, how did you approach finding your niche? And then what would you recommend to people starting out, like to find a niche right away or kind of learn on the fly as they go?
Yeah, so I am a champion of learning on the fly. Many may disagree, but I just feel like with writing, the more you learn, the more experiences you have, the more that you can draw from when you're writing. And it's always this debate: do you niche down? Do you, or do you cast a wide, net?
Wide net from the beginning,
given my experience, I'm able to just draw on all of my experiences, and I got to say, it really does help. Some of what I do is partner with SEO companies. And so typically they're blog posts, long, short form articles. And, I've come across different briefs that I've drawn from experience. So, personally, I'm all about just kind of on the fly, and personally, I love to research as well.
Yeah. And that's a big thing too. When you bring up research with copywriting, it's I feel like majority of it is really research to make sure that the copy is going to be compelling and persuasive and get the reader to take action. It's a big process for me. You talked a little bit about, a big step for you is going to Quora and finding what customers are saying and using that customer language within the direct response copy, which I think is super effective. I recommend like going on Amazon or like Capterra if you're doing tech to read tech reviews. It's really the best way, and to include some of that language in the copy, is great. But as far as niching down, Ken, I'm with you. For me, it was just like I labeled myself as a copywriter, and then I started taking on everything and finding out what I was really going to focus on regarding my services. So you focused a lot with direct response of LinkedIn messaging, so that's kind of your niche now. But
Yeah.
some people kind of jump in. It's like, I'm going to work in the food industry, or I'm going to work in the automotive industry right from the beginning, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a path to it, great. But there's sometimes where it's just like, I enjoy writing emails, so then focus on a bunch of different industries and see really what works best for you then.
Yeah. I definitely think it's per individual.
Yeah.
I love hearing the debates of, do you niche down, or do
Yeah.
you just kind of do a bit of everything? I love hearing those debates, but yeah, I feel like it's the only way to learn. It's the only way to learn what you like
Yeah.
as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah. If I asked you what was the one project that comes to mind that you're most proud of, what do you think of?
Wow, that's a good question.
Not to downplay all your clients, you don't have to really shout out. You can be more general of the type of work you did instead of naming names.
Yeah. You know what? No project actually comes to mind. But
Yeah.
what really comes to mind is just my ability to be agile. So when
Yeah.
projects do come up, I'm able to just jump in and move and roll with the punches.
Yeah.
Because they're all fairly similar, I would say. All of them, it's like, okay, this is our customer, this is our product or service, we need to reach them.
Yeah.
And so, it's basically all the same, but it's the point of being agile, being able to be like, oh, okay, well, this is a different industry than the last project, then the last project, then the last project. So,
Yeah. No, I like that.
yeah,
And
I would say that.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like coming back from your experience of just taking everything, taking all the different experiences, wearing those marketing hats. It's taught you to be agile in these situations. You kind of look back and just like, man, that one experience led me to do this. It's pretty cool. It's just like, it goes back to just like enjoy the journey too. It's like you talk about niching down, but just like enjoy the different projects that you take on. Be respectful of those and enjoy that, type of client relationship as you grow.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know too, you focus a lot on copy editing, and I know you've done some content about, how efficient ways, like you did a post recently about 6 tips for, improve your editing process. It's something that I haven't talked to you with a fellow copywriter on this yet. So I'm really intrigued of, some of the tools you use or what your copy editing process looks like, because I have mine, but then I also know people who work with a separate copy editor. So I don't know if you really recommend that. What is your process?
Yeah, so my editing process is pretty simple. It is to write the copy and then leave it. Whether it's for a few minutes, you go take a shower, leave it, come back to it the next day.
Yeah.
But that for me works wonders, because like while I'm in the shower, something might come, an idea might come, or it might come to me to change one sentence or to tweak that paragraph. So that's one tip. And then I personally also live with an educator. So I'm always like, hey, can you please read this? Give me your feedback. How did it make you feel? Was everything clear and concise? So I also take that feedback as well, and kind of incorporate it into that copy. Yeah. But those are my go-to tips as far as editing. Now, as far as hiring an editor, I think again that's probably something that's per individual. It's always good to have a second pair of eyes, and someone to offer constructive criticism. But yeah, I think for me, I like to edit my own stuff personally. But if you feel like you need an editor, I say, go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting to some points where I take on larger projects, so it kind of makes more sense to have an editor
Yeah.
maybe look at it since it's a bigger
Mm.
investment from my client. So just definitely want to make sure it's that quality. But then obviously there's tools like Grammarly. I feel like you and I have discussed some of like the features on Grammarly
Oh
for
yeah.
LinkedIn, right? And just like how
Yeah, yeah.
effective they are with the pro. And so that's one way to edit yourself. But being a solopreneur or freelancer, I mean, you're fortunate where you have somebody that you can bounce ideas off of. But just again, it kind of goes back
Yeah.
to investing in community to have like somebody. It's like, hey man, can you look at this real quick? Because I've talked to like
Sure.
my friend Dan Marzullo, who I do the Copy Corner series with. Nice name drop there, right?
Yeah.
Nice subtle pub for that. But
Awesome.
sometimes I'll text him. I'm like, hey man, does this make sense to you? Like, is this clear?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so it's fun to have those people in your corner too that you could just take a look at as well. And I've even started doing it in the copy co-op community where I've had people kind of chime in with what
Yeah.
they think. So even being part of
Yeah.
groups too is super helpful within that editing process.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And I've seen a few posts in the
Yeah,
Facebook group of you just kind of reaching out to say, "Hey guys, what do you think?" Which I think is awesome, you know.
yeah. It's good
Yeah,
to just
'cause
like you
at
said
the
get that
same
fresh
time,
perspective.
yeah, at the same time we're learning as well as group members. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
sometimes just like hearing other people's ideas, I'm like, oh, that's great. This is exactly what I wanted to say, and I couldn't think of it. It's like I had that
Yeah.
foundation, but I just couldn't exactly word it in a certain way. So, yeah, it's fun. But I love your tip about taking a step away. I feel like something that I need to get better at because I feel like I write it,
Yeah.
I put it through Grammarly, I read it again, and I could easily then just continue to edit it. But then sometimes I'll send it to the client where I'm confident enough in
Yeah.
it, and then just whatever feedback they have, we roll with it and then we adjust. But I like that taking a step back,
Yeah.
and taking those breaks because sometimes I do it in between and I'm like reading a little bit and just it really does just like help motivate you and inspire some new ideas too.
Yeah, indeed. And I like what you said as well. It's like, if you think that this is a finished product, you have that confidence, then yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead and send it to the client.
yeah,
So I like that little tidbit as well.
yeah, absolutely. We mentioned a few tools in there. Yeah, I'm curious. I always love asking this question of what are some of your go-to tools that you use to run your business every day?
Wow. Asana is one,
Okay.
just to kind of keep everything on track and in one place.
Yeah.
Um, Working with various clients across the globe. WhatsApp, which
Okay.
was like introduced to me from a client. I'm like, why doesn't everybody use this? Like, do we really need Verizon and T-Mobile? And like, we can just use WhatsApp.
That's a good point. Yeah, if you're on Wi-Fi or whatever, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
great point.
WhatsApp. And then Zoom is another one, and Loom,
Ah,
just to make videos. Yeah. So, I might send, instead of trying to explain and edit or why I did this or that within the copy, I'll just make a quick video
yeah,
and explain, like, okay, this is why I did this. Here, this is. I'm going to highlight this. So, just quick and easy for the client, I feel
yeah.
like.
I feel
And
like I feel like I want to jump in on that real quick.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Explain a little bit more what Loom is, though, as far as like recording videos for people who may not be aware watching this.
Yeah, so it's like a quick, I've had it for a while. I think it was like a Chrome um a Chrome
Yeah,
plugin.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, I think yeah, and I can't even remember what I did but yeah, I was introduced to Loom, and it's just a quick way to make a quick video. You record it, you hit the little plugin, you
Hmm.
record it, and then you're able to send a link to anyone.
And they can watch it, and
So
it records your screen too, which is
y-
great.
yeah,
Um,
record your screen. You can do just audio if you'd like.
yeah,
Yeah, or you can do the
invitations.
camera
Yeah,
and and audio at the same time. So
yeah,
yeah, and then you don't have to worry about uploading, a video file,
that's
which are
true.
huge.
Yeah, they have like the cloud system where you can easily just watch the video online. It's like a private link, which is really cool.
Yeah,
I use
I
Loom for a
love
little
it.
bit, and then I start using
Oh,
the
okay.
I started using the Cloud app, which is really similar. But to go
Okay.
back to it, I think everybody watching this, as far as like managing client relationships and the different projects you have, it's like invest
Hmm.
in Loom because it is free, or one of these tools where
Yeah.
you can do this screen recording, because it is much easier to just, here's the copy, you can highlight a section and be like, this is
Oh
why I
yeah.
chose this headline, just speak out loud. And like, I've done it with some of my independent contractors, with a lot of my clients
Okay.
now. It's like a given. It's like I do it all the time now. If I really need to dive in about
Yeah.
telling them why I chose to write it like this, and they love it. It's way easier, like you said, than kind of
Oh
taking things out of
yeah.
context through notes or comments in a Google Doc.
Right, right. Totally agree. Yeah, such a easy route to
Saves you so
connect with
much
your
time.
clients.
Yep, it saves so much
You
time.
know.
Yeah,
And then like you just mentioned, the last tool is Google Docs or just Google Suite, whether
yeah,
sheets or the Google Docs. Like who can live without Google Docs now?
yeah. I know. If I start reading, I've met a few writers, and it is just a few of who don't use it and
Yeah.
like don't like it, and I'm like,
Well,
oh wow, how like
like
makes no
why
sense to me.
why?
And even like, and the more you do things in Google Suite, I feel like it's still worth it to pay whatever, $10, $12 a month for like a terabyte
Yeah,
of data, because you're just gonna
indeed.
you can dump so much stuff in there.
Yeah, yeah. So those are definitely like my go-to. Every day I touch those platforms.
Yeah.
Every day, all day, for the most
Oh,
part.
awesome. I feel like
Yeah,
we are the same boat. I use Asana for my task management with my virtual assistant. Yeah,
yeah,
Google Docs. Software, like I said, like Loom. I use Cloud app, but yeah,
yeah,
excellent. Well, good resources
yeah.
out there for everybody listening as well. Uh, then, Kiana,
Indeed.
I want to end with a couple of last questions. I do this with every interview. I
Okay.
start by asking, are you more of a burrito or pizza person?
Um, that's a tough one, but I would choose pizza
Choose pizza.
over burrito, even though I love, Mexican food.
Yeah.
But
And you're
pizza,
in,
I'm a pizza person all day.
yeah, and you're in the Houston area, right? So you got some good options for both, I imagine.
Oh, indeed, indeed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But growing up on the eastern shore of Maryland, like
yeah.
I love, like I call it beach pizza because
Okay.
I grew up not far from the beach,
Yeah.
and I just those thin slices, you can roll them up, you can manipulate them like however you want,
Yeah.
and just pop it in your mouth. So,
Yeah. There
yeah.
you go. I love it. I love it. And I asked that question because I want to know then, what are your three key ingredients to a success pizza for solopreneurship, for running a business in general, for everybody watching? What are those three key ingredients?
Sure. I would say the first one is discipline,
Mm,
because it's very easy, working remotely, being 100% online. It's very easy to just kind of hang out on the couch if you want,
true.
if
That's
you
true.
don't feel like doing anything. But
Yeah.
discipline, consistency is the
Mm,
second ingredient. You have to be consistent, especially being a solopreneur. You have to have consistency in your communication and in your work tasks.
yeah.
And the third one is really just the belief in yourself.
Yeah. Awesome.
You have to believe that basically you can pull this off. You can be a solopreneur, a business owner, and or complete this task
Yeah.
that's been given or that you've accepted,
Yeah.
basically. So those are like the three ingredients
Yeah, I
of
love it.
my
Discipline,
pizza.
consistency, yeah, and self belief, and really a mindset game. It really is
It
all about
really
that.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And within that is I include is gratitude. It's
mm,
just, being gracious and having that belief in yourself. So,
yeah. No, absolutely. I know we say that all the time. I say it with
yeah.
gratitude and tell people to practice it, and it's like you really don't experience the power of it until you really engulf it and do it every day.
Yeah,
And it is really powerful. Not to
it's
be,
real.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's totally real. The more you say
Yeah.
stuff, the more those opportunities are going to rise, and it comes into your life. I really believe
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
I've had proof of it for a lot of scenarios.
Exactly. that's the thing. You can explain it to someone all day, but until, like you said, they practice it and things start to materialize for them, like, it just sounds cliche or something to say, a trendy word.
Yeah, but I met so many people too who just like, yeah, man, Terry, I try it, and then, yeah, I'm with you. It totally works. I'm like, yeah, exactly, it totally does. So don't roll your eyes,
Indeed.
people. It works. I'm telling you. It's Kiana and Terry approved. All right. Well, I love that. Those three ingredients are great for your success pizza, Kiana. And thank you so much for sharing everything today. That's really all I have for this Proceed with Passion. We shared a ton, which was great. A lot of good insight with copy
Awesome.
and fun here in your journey too. Going from, you're like many people,
Yeah.
you pivot, you started in food, and then you bounced around and pivoted to where you are now, which is really cool. It's always fun hearing
Yeah.
that story.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I definitely enjoy your content on LinkedIn. I'm glad we were able to finally connect. Like we said earlier, we have been connected for quite a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely enjoyed this. I
Yeah.
had fun.
Yeah, same. And before we go, this is your time to really promote everything. I know you have a new podcast coming out too, or it is out, so you can go ahead and talk about that and then share where people can find you across the internet as well.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on LinkedIn. My website is klfit2web, the number two, so
Yeah.
klfit2web.com. You can find me there. And yeah, working with a business partner of mine, we have a podcast coming out, Professional Pillow Talk.
Mm.
So look out for that. Once we kind of get everything situated, there'll be more information put out, but I'm excited about that project.
Yeah, professional pillow talk. A little risque, a little,
Yeah.
it's a little curious. I like it though. That'll be fun.
Yeah, yeah,
What's
yeah.
the elevator pitch for that podcast then? What's the one sentence synopsis?
So it is a place to basically be professional yet unwind.
Mm,
So,
I like it.
there's a sprinkle of professionalism, but
Yeah.
outside of that, it's like we're just going to tackle everyday things that happen in the world, you know.
Okay.
Talk about humanity,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, definitely stay tuned for that and give Kiana a follow across LinkedIn. Check out her website so you guys can get alerted when that's all coming out. But again, Kiana, thank you so much. It was great talking with you today.
Yeah, thank you as well.